Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, please email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It's still in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. My email is tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing the Panerai Submersible. This model right here, it's way up there, PAM02683. We are deep into the 4 digits now. This is a timepiece launched in 2019, 42 millimeters in diameter with a thickness that is svelte for Panerai at 13.3 millimeters thick, 51.8 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, with a spacing between the lugs of 22 millimeters. So the Panerai Submersible, 3 days, PAM02683. It is a submersible that is considerably more compact than past Panerai options, making it more comparable to something like a Rolex Submariner in terms of fit. Of course, with a strap, it's a totally different aesthetic, but it wears well on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, to the point where I can honestly say for the first time we've got a Panerai Submersible whose lugs don't overlap the edge of my wrist. They're right out to the edge, but they're not over. And particularly down the barrel, you can see how well this fits. I believe you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference. And it's flat. This is a watch that could fit underneath most cuffs, giving it more versatility than a common Panerai. In spite of the rather rough and ready dive watch aesthetic, it is quite slim. We have a Panerai diving strap in rubber with a bellows style system, granting it quite a bit of flexibility. We've got that 70 style OP logo. You can see the bellows on top and bottom. This is a brand new Panerai factory strap, no crimping, no gouging, with a traditional Panerai steel satin finished trapezoidal pin buckle. Okay, now something I really like to see here. We have Panerai's quick release system for the strap. So you press this trigger on the bottom and then you use your tool to push the bar retaining the strap through the lugs, releasing the strap. It definitely prevents you from risking your talent with a screwdriver against the finish of the lugs, and it's far more upscale than the spring bars that now find themselves on several Panerai models. This is the good stuff in terms of lug fitment and strap attachment. We have the most famous crown guard in history, the device protecting the crown, devised in the 40s, implemented in the 50s. The idea, back when Panerai made all manual wind watches, was that since you'd have to wind them almost daily, you would need some way of doing so without wearing down the crown seals. And back when Rolex made the cases with its oyster crowns, you were constantly threading in and threading out to set and wind the watch. So the idea here is to have something that locks by compressing and decompressing the crown seals rather than that constant motion moving in and out. So when I lift the lock, I can wind, I can set, I can even change the date by activating the quit sec mechanism. And I can do all of this without moving in and out excessively or threading through, since I'm only compressing and decompressing the crown seals. You can see that there's a little bearing in the cam lobe. That's been around since at least 2007. It's called the runner. It smooths the action of the cam. You can also see how it's very easy to operate this if your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved. A tightly screwed down conventional crown can be tough to grip if your hands are wet, slimy, or you're wearing gloves. Here, you pop it open, now it's unlocked, and it's easy to manipulate. Plus, a conventional crown guard still leaves your crown vulnerable to direct impacts. This gives you all aspect protection, and it's hard to jump into the water with this unlocked, whereas a screw-down crown could be turned out 2 or 3 turns, and you wouldn't notice it. This is a whole lot tougher to miss. Taking a quick look, you can see it's all satin finished, very distinctive, very robust. This is what was once upon a time called the Luminor 1950 case, as it's very close to the 1950s 6152 combat watch. This is more like a vintage Panerai than were the initial civilian Panerais of the 90s with their Betterini case. We don't have much polish here, but you can see we've got a little bit, primarily on the bezel, the knurling, and then the indices on the top. We've got the ceramic on steel look that was first pioneered on the PAM389 anti-magnetic, and a superb bezel action, 60 click, super chunky, very loud, a total tactile pleasure. And then we've got the ceramic insert on top, which is usefully scratch resistant, far more so than metal or anodized aluminum. Taking a quick look, there is also plenty of luminescence. And Panerai's done us a favor in two ways. First, you can see the second sand in the dark, not true on every dive watch. That means we know in the depths whether our backup dive timer is actually working, which is kind of key. Also, differential lume color. You can see that the minute hand and the bezel pearl are blue. You can immediately distinguish them relative to each other for a quick gauge of timing approximations in the dark. Dial is matte black, and the features of the dial are a little bit different from a conventional Panerai, which typically features stencil-like sandwich dials. Here we have applied numerals with a few cyan blue accents to give it a bit of warmth and endearment. Taking a look at the reverse side, you can see the SLC, as it was known and abbreviated, the PIG, the manned torpedo used by Decima Flotilla combat swimmers back in the 1940s. These guys were pioneering special forces and amphibious warfare, most famous for the raid on Alexandria when they used these torpedoes to mount magnetic mines on the bottom of British battleships. Now, of course, you can also see screwed in caseback, 300 meters water resistant. Inside, we have a Valfleurier design movement. Valfleurier is the movement factory for Richemont. Richemont owns Panerai and many other brands. From time to time, they'll turn out a movement for companies like Baume & Mercier, Cartier, IWC, Panerai. They supplement the in-house watchmaking capabilities of those brands. And so this P900 is similar to movements you'll see at other Richemont brands, but it has a number of credible features, including a quick set date, a 4 Hz beat rate, via a single barrel, a 72-hour or 3-day power reserve, all of that pivoting on 23 joules. The only feature it does not have is hacking seconds. This is a watch that offers impressive ergonomics for a Panerai Submersible, the best sounding and feeling dive bezel in the business, a unique lug junction system, and no watch brand has more aftermarket custom strap options than Panerai. You will find as a Panerai owner, although there are OEM options from the company, you have literally unlimited choices when it comes to the aftermarket, including custom builders who will give you everything you want from Lizard to Stingray and beyond. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.